Hey, everybody. If you want the full uncensored episode, be sure to click the link below to join the Fight Club on Patreon. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Twister, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, buddy. I was telling Tim, Jimmy and I went out to St. Louis, and we stayed at your place. We were out there for an alumni event, and you had the locker room showers in your bathroom, and in there showering. Twister comes walking in. I'm there. What the fuck's he doing? What's he up to? So I'm washing my fucking hair. All of a sudden, I hear the soap, and it drops right by my feet. And I bend over and pick it up, and he just fucking laughing his ass off, going, Nux, you never bend over and pick up the soap in the shower.
That's why they call it soap and a rope, young man.
That'll be a suspension. That'll be a fine. Nyland's going ballistic. He's a freaking madman.
I'm Chris Nyland, and this is the Raw Knuckles Podcast. So, yeah, awesome stuff, buddy. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah, where do we start with you other than the soap in the shower?
Let's all follow up. You know what? We can tell them what happened after.
Yeah. Let's start with, let's say, Quebec. I'm near the end of my career. You're in Quebec City, and I'm in Montreal. I'm in my last year, and we face off together. And fucking Twister is, we're going, fucking old man. We're going. Give me the old man shit, right?
That's awesome.
So I'm there, holy fuck, I got to go with him. The puck drops. It goes into their corner, and fucking Twister's about to fucking go, and who comes flying right by me? Lyle Oderline. Fucking. And the two of them go. He said, fuck you, you're not going to fight him, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, have you ever made up with Lyle since that fucking day? I heard there was bad blood because of that.
Yeah, he jumped me. I wasn't happy about that. The fucking spineless little prick. But yeah, no, we've obviously, we got along since, it's just that's only one day in the life of the many that we've lived. So if I'm going to hold that accountable, I got some problems.
Yeah, I guess. But Odie, I saw him recently. He was
hey, did his finger grow back?
No, never. He's still got. He still does the wear number one.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened? What happened?
Farming accident.
That's
Really?
a farming accident, I believe.
Yeah.
I think the pig may have had some knives on his sphincter or something. I don't know.
So Twister, let's talk about it. You grew up in Sherwood Park, Alberta, or you were born there. Where did you grow up?
So I was born in Saskatoon, actually. So the funny thing is, when we were doing the whole draft thing, and you have to sign up for the draft and put down where you're born, whatever, I just lied through my teeth. I made shit up. Birth date wasn't right for the longest time. I signed up at 6'3", 240 pounds. I wasn't even close to that. I was from Sherwood Park, Alberta. Then they sent the second time, they sent all the information for the draft. I lied to them again. We sent from Sherwood Park, Alberta. But then I put in my real weight, and I added 2 inches, and they said, that's not right. So then I sent it back, still Sherwood Park, with all the information, but there it's stuck. It's never been changed. So I was born in Saskatoon, and Dad was an RCMP officer. He left. He was transferred to Prince George in central interior British Columbia. And pretty much all my growing up from 6 to 18 was there in Prince George.
In Prince George. So how's the hockey thing get started with you? Dad's a RCMP guy. Did your dad play hockey? Brother, sister, you got a brother that played? How many kids in the family?
There's 2 kids. My sister's 7 years my junior. No other kids. Everybody in the United States grows up with baseball. We grew up with hockey. You're 24/7, 352 days a week. You can find baseball on here, but in Canada, you're catching hockey, and everybody played it and started from there. That's I went to Prince George. Is even more of a mecca of hockey right there in the central interior of British Columbia. So just follow suit.
So who was your team growing up? Your favorite team?
None. I tell you what, it's kind of funny. People ask me, there wasn't a team. Obviously we played street hockey. We all had names. We were too busy playing street hockey and hockey to even watch any hockey. So really, at the end of the day, who was your teams? I don't know. Whoever we were that evening, we didn't have enough time in our day to go study who we were going to be. It was just, what you heard somewhere. Okay, well, I'll be him then. So there was really no attachment.
So you played in the 80s. You played 3 years for the Spruce Kings in the PCJHL. Twister.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of the Charlestown Chiefs, big boy.
Well, you had good numbers there, right? You have 42 games. You have 52 points. You could play the game. Then you go to...
That's
go
Charlestown Chiefs. That's the Charlestown Chiefs. One of the arenas in Williams Lake, they didn't have glass around the back. It was chicken wire. It was 100% chicken wire. If you got too close, because it was right near the Indian reservation, they'd come an hour before the game, start getting preloaded. The stands would be full for warm-up, and they'd be spitting on us in the corner. So we wouldn't be able to spit. You couldn't get anywhere near the corner because it was chicken wire. So you ended up getting spit on. And that happened throughout the game. Shit, they threw live chickens on the ice, spray painted with our colors on it, and we ended up whacking the heads off it when we're skating by. It was one step out of one game they ended up having to get escorted to our bus. We didn't have a chance to change because beer bottles were full ones, by the way, not empty ones, whizzing over the top of our heads. And we got chased out of town with a police escort. All right, as we're being chased with pickups full of people in the back throwing beer bottles at it. So yeah, that's Charlestown Chiefs, big boy.
That sounds like fun.
But at that time you weren't thinking like I'm going to play in the NHL, were you?
No, I don't. We'll get to that.
So you go from Prince George. How do you end up in Saskatoon? Were you drafted? Were you, or did someone see you?
Well, I guess somebody must have saw me somewhere. Somebody was hiding out in one of the bars I was at. But I was drafted into the WHL at that time by, I think it was Seattle Breakers, and I went to the Kamloops. Blazers. Ken Hitchcock was the coach at that time. I was 16, and Rudy was the resident tough guy there at that point. And
Rudy Pochek?
Yeah.
Who? Rudy Pochek. Okay.
Yeah. And I went to the training camp, and they asked me to stay, but I was 16. I was already graduating from high school, and I wasn't interested in really getting out of the house, right? So that's when I started. I played with the Spruce Kings, then came back, and I was drafted by the Breakers. They traded me to Saskatoon, and that's where I ended up playing junior hockey. The continuation from the Charlestown Chiefs to real hockey.
So Saskatoon, like where did the fighting start? Did somebody tap you on the shoulder? Was that just your game? What was it?
Well, that started when I was in the Spruce. Well, it started way back when. I don't know about you, Nux, but the first time I dropped the gloves, sure the heck didn't have skates on. I mean, that started in elementary school, going to what everybody knows that a Catholic school in Canada is a little bit different than a Catholic school in America. Because at that time, at that point in the Canadian history, if you couldn't find residence in a normal school, you went to a Catholic school, so you had to earn your stripes. So, I mean, starting in elementary and all the way through high school, always fighting, for no other reason that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And then coming to Prince George and playing junior hockey, I'd never fought in the ice up to that point. Never felt but enjoyed it all the same. So from pretty much from there, in the Saskatoon, was relegated to doing the job, and adopted it. I enjoyed it. Find your niches, find your riches. I sure the heck wasn't going to be jamming the net full of pucks. I knew that.
Yeah. So you play those 2 years in Saskatoon. You're drafted by the St. Louis Blues in the 12th round. Your first training camp. Ninth round. Sorry. Jesus. I was the ninth. Relax. I was 19.
I get it. All I can tell you is that that ninth round doesn't exist anymore. So
I know, right? Wonder why.
Yeah, wonder why, right?
Wonder why. So you get drafted. You're going off to St. Louis for training camp. Who was the coach your first training camp? And, like, what were you up against that first camp? Who were the resident tough guys that you had to take on?
Training camp could have been any more beautiful. It really was. You know, first of all, when I got drafted, my dad came upstairs. Hey, you're drafted. Well, I was just out with all the boys the night before. All the guys, guys. We had a big hockey following in Kamloops. We just got a tough night drinking, so it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm up late. Got drafted. I go, yeah, whatever. Shut the door. I get up at 1 just to go on with my day, and he goes, no, seriously, you got drafted, son. I go, that's a rich one. Still didn't believe him. And then, ended up getting a call that I got drafted by the Blues, and I go, I guess this is real. That's, I never thought about, doing the NHL thing. So I had other colleges that were interested in bringing me aboard for 4-year deals, and I was interested in that. But anyways, off to sign the deal and the ticket to the first training camp. What a beautiful thing that was. I'm going to promise you. I wish training camps were like that, the way they used to be. We're in that old arena in Brentwood, and it's, there's only one side to the stands. The locker room we're in I think Pee Wee teams have locker rooms 3 times the size now, and they're not even playing travel hockey. And it was, you had all these guys grouped together, and, the day before, the night before we're going to the day of training camp, we're supposed to have a big meeting in this auditorium, and it was going to be Brian Sutter, was going to be to say his little piece. Excuse me. And every coach GM was going to do their thing. So all really immaterial because, at this point I knew who Brian Sutter was. So kind of waiting for him to come on and, waiting for the speech. This is what he says. And it was this concise and this perfect. Men, I would like to ask you guys tomorrow, if you're a goal scorer, put the puck in the net. If you're a defenseman, be a defenseman. If you're a goaltender, stop the puck. If you're a fighter, go out there and fight. All right, lads, let's get busy.
So,
did somebody put cotton candy in my ears? Because that tastes amazing. I mean, could you not ask? So we're getting myself and Chaser together. We're going down the elevator in the Holiday Inn where we're all staying the night before training camp.
Now, did you know Chaser? Did you know Chaser before?
We played junior together.
That's right.
So
okay.
We've got 2 years of fight stories there. So we're on the elevator together, and there's Todd Ewan, Herb Ragland, myself, Chaser, Ewan, and who else was there? Percy was there. And we're going down. They pressed the button to go down. I looked at Todd and I go, I guess you and I are going tomorrow, huh? With a big Cheshire grin. And he goes, I said, yeah, I guess we're fighting tomorrow. And Chaser's like, I don't know who the fuck we are. I mean, I don't know what you. And Rags is on there, and so is Percy. And I'm thinking, well, yeah. And so he goes, well, I don't have to fight you. And I go, oh yeah, you do. You don't have to fight me. And I big Cheshire grin, and I was like, I just told what I got to do. So that night, we're that night Chaser and I talking. He goes, what's with this we? And I go, dude, you know what you're gonna go do. Let's not kid ourselves. Just play it off. So the next morning, first drop of the puck. I mean, there's barely anybody in the stands. It's the first morning game, and Todd and I are playing against each other for it was the second game of the day. So we'd already played the early morning. So now the veterans have their one scoot on the ice. And I remember the puck drops, and I go right after him. He's not dropping his gloves. Second shift went right after him. Now you got to understand, training coach camp. There's a referee, but I don't know what he really services besides dropping the puck. And then you've got a coach on each side who's coaching the teams. And Brian Sutter was our coach. I mean, so you got a young 20-year-old kid who just heard, in the auditorium, you gotta fight. If you fight, you gotta. Well, I'm not here to score goals. So I looked at Brian, and he knows I was trying to chase it around Todd. And I looked at Brian and said, I'm just going to leave my stick and my helmet and my gloves on the bench. And he goes, okay. Went straight up there, went to center ice and called on Todd. And he wasn't coming, so I started doing the chicken around center ice. Of course, he had to come out. So we square off at center ice. It's a pretty good tilt. We broke out in the training room. I got to get a couple stitches over my eye. And now, granted, go back to the size of this dressing room. the training room's even smaller. So we're basically kissing each other. We're taking rectal thermometers at this point. And I look over at Todd and I go, well, we got another one to go. And he goes, my hand hurts, I got to get an X-ray. Oh, come on. And then the trainer goes, you got to get some stitches. That'll be for later. He goes, no, not now. I said, either you put something on here or I'm taping it up. And he left. I put a piece of tape right from here to here, put it back in, put my helmet on, and went back out there. Todd never came back out. He never came back out. He said, whatever. So, after the practice, going to get, now, mind you, Nux, do you remember how many years ago it was? When's the last time you saw metal blades? Like the all metal blades?
Oh, my first year. Even then,
Okay.
No, before for college.
Okay, can I tell you? My skates had metal blades.
Okay.
Okay, that's 1988.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. What's metal blades?
Tim
There's no
does-
plastic. It's just freaking metal. I was beast about this. You go, who's this Neanderthal with metal?
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
After the game, everybody's like, what is wrong with this kid? Nobody knows me. Nobody, because the most of the guys went to college. The guys in junior knew me if they were from this end, but nobody had an idea. And Vies was there in the dressing room going, talking to OB going, who is this clown? I mean, he's got metal blades, number one. Number two, what the hell?
Calling all hockey lovers. Upgrade your podcast experience by becoming an enforcer. Gain access to the greatest hockey doc ever, The Last Gladiators. And don't settle for ordinary. Join the Fight Club over on Patreon today. So, Twister, I always said, if a coach ever tapped me on the shoulder and said to go fight someone, I was going to tell him to go fuck himself. Now, that never happened. Did that ever happen to you?
Nope, it never happened to me, and I'll tell you why. Nux, you and I are both good at what we did. If you tap me on the shoulder, are you trying to tell me I can't recognize what's going on in the game? I'm on the best seat in the house. I've been acting like a grocery stick for 3 periods, making sure the forwards and the defensemen don't get mixed up. And you're going to come tap me on the shoulder and say, now is my time? If I can't figure that out, you better take my uniform from me, because I'd take that as a huge insult.
So
And
it
you
never
didn't have?
happened.
Did you have butterflies ever, or like did you the night before ever have like a overthink it?
Never overthink.
Never.
Never overthink it, but I can tell you, I fought, including Nux, 100, 200 times in my head. Not because I was nervous, but you got to be prepared, and whatever you prepare in your head is what's going to happen on the ice. You get dinged, I don't care how big, strong, mean, evil, or prehistoric you think you are. You get hit, it's going to hurt. It's not how many you can give, it's how many you can take, and it's how you react. So my thought process was, I fought you 300 to 500 times and 200 to 500 times already in my head. I'm not nervous at all. I'm ready to get at it. Butterflies not as much as a healthy nervousness, because if you're too cocky, you put somebody on a pedestal, or you don't take the fight less seriously, that's when you get hurt. You're going half dick in. It's not fixing it. You can't fold it in half. It's not going to work, because you'll get folded in half. So I prepared the same way, never held anybody on a pedestal, never put anybody above anybody else, never put anybody underneath either. I treated you the same way.
Never underestimate, never overestimate a guy. Always
That's correct.
respect
That
for
is
all
awesome.
of them. That's it.
And Nux, you know as well as I do, it's fun to say though, but if you can do the little things, to get under somebody's skin, the cockiness, the brazen, not just the brazen, like in Toronto, I'd go.
Well, let's talk about that, because I want to talk about that.
Okay, go ahead.
I heard the story where, I don't know if it was in Chicago or maybe it was Toronto, where Tony Twist, pregame skate in the morning, went out, sat on the opposing team's bench in his underwear and watched their practice.
I did much better. I even drank some of their water. But here's the deal. It was when Burns was coach, and there
Was that in Toronto?
Yes, in Toronto.
All right.
And it was kind of a situation where, he wanted to have the tough guy, and he, from Montreal to Toronto. Him and I never saw eye to eye. Any event, he brought this kid up.
Burnsy?
Yeah, he brought this kid up in the And so I did the whole Mr. T workout. That's get in there, do a few push-ups, get a nice little sweat going, do some squats, put on the spandex, right? Got the pump going, grab your stick, and just go over by their bench and pretend to wrap your stick, sit on their bench, drink a little water, spray yourself down, and be able to put it back and catch eyes with everybody on the ice. Just to see who holds gaze. Just for a second. I'm not doing. It's not a show at this. There's not a smile on my face. It's like I'm picking out who's the guy.
Who's gonna stare at me?
Yeah, not one. And those games there, that's true. And Nux, as well as I do, intimidation is a real thing if you let it get to you. The small things on the ice, Nux, I know things the whack, the slash, the smile, just to keep somebody on edge. And then all of a sudden, when they don't think that then you come. I mean, you're on my time. You got to be able to intimidate to do the job.
So who was the resident tough guy in Toronto at that time? I don't know if they had one, did they? Kordic?
No, they didn't really have one because Kordic was gone already. Domi wasn't there yet. Nick Kyprios wasn't there. Not that he was Nick was a willing fighter, but he was no heavyweight.
Yeah.
That was
and
about
Course,
it.
Was Course there? I mean, Course would fight.
Yeah, of course would, but he was in Montreal when I first came to Quebec, and I got my marching orders. This is a funny story because the owner at that, Marcel Abou of the Quebec Nordiques at that time, was a lawyer who owned the Nordiques and the Colisée. So when I got flown in that day, we're playing that night. He didn't even know me. I didn't know him. He pulls me aside. In broken French.
Hey, Tony, go score a couple goals for me.
No, he says, Tony, I don't like this Shane Corson. I don't like him.
Okay.
I go, of course. He goes, yeah, don't like him. He goes, but you have a good game. I just got checked. No, I never met the guy. He owns the team, and I just took a kite from the guy who owns the team. The kite that says, "All right, green light on Corson."
Now go fly it.
So the first thing I did went after Course. Shit looks at me and goes, I'm not fighting you, you big monkey. And that was the first game. Ewan was in Quebec or in Montreal. So I went after Todd and he wouldn't fight. And then this third shift, I get on and Todd jumps me from behind. Ended up giving him a pretty good beating after. And it was like after the game, Course comes up to me because everybody got the Shane Show. You remember the Shane Show? The hot dogs?
Oh, yeah. Quebec. The best.
Signed up. Oh, the best.
Well, Montreal, the best. They're second best.
Well, okay. Well, of course, I understand that. On my way to my truck, whatever I was driving, Course goes, why were you chasing after me, you big monkey? I said, evidently Marcel Abou doesn't like you, and I got that morning. He goes, what?
Oh, shit.
Oh,
so,
man, that's hilarious.
Twister, couple things. Certainly in life after hockey. Now, you enjoyed your career, obviously. You have fun. How difficult was it that last year? St. Louis, 98, 99. You played 63 games. After that, no more hockey. Was it the bike accident that ended everything? And what happened there?
Yeah, it was my motorcycle accident ended up being the coup de grace on that. I had just been released by the Blues as an unrestricted free agent. I was in negotiations with Philadelphia, doing a 3-year term there. It would have been the largest contract of my career. Obviously, anywhere I would have went would have been a 3-year term, at $1 million a year. Because at that point, that's where that salary or that job definition was being allocated, that kind of sum. So yeah, I was pretty excited about it, but the motorcycle accident put an end to it. I ended up in a wheelchair and, broke my pelvis in the front and the back, severed those muscles. I ended up getting 2 plates in there and, blew up my knee. I had to get that redone, and then my foot. So it was, I was in a wheelchair for 3 months, and it took me about a year and a bit to get recouped.
Wow!
And the game had already escaped. The game had already escaped me by that point, Nux. I mean, I was living on the reputation of being a cash-in grocery stick where the nuclear weapon just sat there and made sure that if he got launched, he launches, and that would have been fine with me.
Did you ever get sick of that role, like doing it? Did it get like the longer you're doing it. Like, I know at the end, I didn't get sick of it. It got tougher on me because I was getting older. I was 34 at the time. It's like, fuck, mentally, it was getting tougher on me. It was. And did you ever get to that point?
No, I wasn't there yet. Knox, I was fortunate enough not to have us fight as many times in the eras that you had to fight either. So,
Yeah.
you've got 10 years. You've got 10 years of hockey prior to me getting in it, and those are probably 10 of the toughest years of any tough guy's demand at that point. So
Yeah.
I wasn't at that point. I was still enjoying it quite a bit, like a whole bunch. So, there wasn't. We talked about this earlier a little bit before. I didn't get nervous. I was happy to do the thing.
Yeah.
I'd be. I can't dismiss the fact I may have been erect. I don't know. It was just something I enjoyed the shit out of.
So
How old were you in your career? How old were you when that accident happened?
I was 33,
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
still
and
a few
I
years for
figured
sure.
out another 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and when we leave the game, everybody misses the locker room. You always hear it. I don't miss the game as much as I miss being around the boys, all that. But that feeling of going out in the ice, lining up next to a guy and know you're going to go him, like there's a special feeling there. You get it. Have you ever been able to recapture anything like that in retirement?
Yeah, all cost me a lot of money, Nux. It cost me a lot of money. Lawyers,
What?
it's just lawyers because you're not getting paid to do it. Now you're actually paying lawyers and other people to bail you out of what you did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is no replacement. You ask, Nux, what else have you done in your life that when the puck drops, 20,000 people, excluding how many hundreds of thousands are watching, stop to watch what's
Yeah.
going on in center ice. I mean,
Right.
it's the Barnum and Bailey circus doesn't have anything on that. It's just it's nobody's going for popcorn. You know what? Nobody's eating the cat. It's they're busy. They're watching what's going on.
So
That's so true, though. That's so true.
Right?
It's like they're watching. They're watching what you're gonna do, what you're doing. I think that's great. You'll never experience that, right? Like
You're absolutely not. And even you get in a good hockey town like Montreal for Nux. If Montreal was down to third period, down 3 or 4 goals, that everybody's not leaving their seats because they're waiting. They're waiting for the shit show that's going to hit the ice as soon as 30. Because, we're not winning this one. Let's set an example. And everybody's as soon as the Nuggets comes out, it's on. They lost the game 5 goals ago, but everybody's sticking around. So there's a lot of value to it on multiple ends. On the entertainment value, that's where the price of the ticket right there.
it's kind
we
of
have
unfortunate that
Yeah.
it's kind of unfortunate that doesn't exist at all today. Like a team will be down like in a playoff game, like 5-1. There's no message sent,
I mean, the game's evolved, and I'd be remiss in trying to report on it because I haven't spent any time. But I do know this: the talent pool that's in the game presently today is far and exceeds anything that Nux and I ever played with. The fourth line now is like a second line when we played. The game and the attitude, the mentality has changed greatly, along with that skill level. And what you integrate or you migrate. So as you integrate into the skill level aspect of the game, and start refocusing or focusing your opportunity for job retention based upon those skills and skills only, on the opposite end, your opportunity to build that tough fight, grindy game isn't so prevalent. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of those guys in the game now, but there's not so many practicing and trying to be that player anymore. And that's part and parcel of why this game has changed. I mean, we all grew up, whether you were a goal scorer or not a goal scorer, all for one and one for team, and nobody pulled punches. We all performed at that level, and now as it started to wean out, the hired hitmen became the thing, but then the hired hitmen started fighting each other instead of setting up Well, why are you out there? You're just
Yeah.
fighting each other. You got to set an example before you do that. And that's where the game's gone. There's multiple factors. Do I miss it? Is there still room for it in the game? Absolutely there is, because your best players would always play every evening. But as things go, integrate or migrate.
So, Twista, we have a great listenership here. A lot of people follow the podcast, and they send in a lot of questions. So I have some questions I want to ask from some of our listeners. Here's one. How much of your reputation is reality?
How much of the reputation is reality?
Yeah.
All of it. All of it. My reputation's built on the real deal. I got nothing to. Video's not lying to you. And anybody who played with me knows that I lived the game. I lived what I did on and off the ice to a degree where it probably shouldn't have. But no, there's going to be fiction built among stories and legends, because that's how legends are built. They're not built on the real story. They're built on other people making it bigger and better. But the premise and the real deal is always there. I mean, these aren't made out of thin blue sky. There's reasons for them.
All right. Describe yourself. The real Tony Twist. The Tony Twist we might not know about.
Oh, I think my stuff shit's all on the table, big boy. there's really, I got nothing else. I mean, I don't have him.
There's nothing hidden there about dropping the soap in the shower or anything, no?
Yeah.
No, not since that day at my house. But I can tell you, I'm a pretty easy picture to read, with the exception of, and I know, Nux, it's the same with you. I know that for a fact. Sometimes there's individuals and personalities who believe because of the job that we completed on the ice extends itself farther and means that we're in real life not all that astute or smart.
Yeah.
And you know what I like about that is that I will play that all day long. I will agree with you. I will play you off, pawn you, softball, those things, let you knock it out of the park. And I'm fully capable and willing to hold that for a month, 2 months, or years. I don't give a shit. But when the opportunity comes out to expose you for your stupidity, I will. And if it takes a couple years or it takes a couple months, that person's going to look at you going, man, I just completely think so different. No, well, you thought different back then because you assumed that I'm dumb. All right. Yeah. But a story about your luck today, I showed you I'm not so dumb. And how foolish do you think you are now? It's 2 years later now, and now you realize how freaking dumb you were. Yeah. So that's the one thing somebody might not know about me. Playing stupid human tricks is what I call it.
Yeah, it's funny, and that's that stigma, I think, especially fighters, but all athletes to some extent have to deal with when, you talk about people who are living in the real world, who get up and do the 9 to 5 thing. A lot of those people do make assumptions, and I get it to an extent, but it's always nice to be able to fucking shock those people, and they're like, "Holy shit, really?"
Oh, yeah.
Really,
it's a good feeling.
Yeah,
and it takes some time. And you know what, Nugs? Patience is really hard. You can't buy those things, but a real gangster will let that patience roll. If it takes a month, 2 or 2 years, it feels even better when it happens.
Get closer to the action in the Fight Club with the Raw Knuckles podcast over on Patreon. Whether you're an instigator, enforcer, or aiming for the Hall of Fame, there's something for everyone waiting for you. Don't miss your chance to be part of the ultimate hockey community. Tony Twist, one of the most feared enforcers ever in the NHL, like Bob Probert, a lot of guys. Is there a soft side to Twister?
I think there was a soft side when I fought, Nux.
No, is there a soft side to Twister?
There was a soft side when I
Come
fought.
on now, don't get nervous. You can fess up if there's a soft side. I know I have a soft side.
But we can edit this. We can edit this.
I've never not shown my soft side. Meaning, as abrupt and as. Here's the thing. The soft side was always there when I played, but if you expect anybody being the best of their game in any one given time, and I mean be a best doctor, surgeon, lawyer, pro athlete, hockey player, baseball player, football player, soccer player, there's a level of commitment that you have to both make to your body and psychologically where you got to be a little bit narcissistic. You got to be egotistical. You got to carry yourself with some certain weight. And that weight's got to translate into the persona of the person you're trying to be. Because if you're not taken seriously in any one of your professions, nobody else is going to take you serious. So with that said, on the soft side of it, it was always there. It was just feathered out with some of the abrasiveness that carried on. And that abrasiveness wasn't necessarily an act either. That's part of you. Somebody says their work stays at home. They're a liar. You can't be a best fighter in any platform, an MMA player, boxer, kickboxer, whoever it may be. You can't leave it at the gym. You're sure the heck not leaving it at the ring, because that feeling, that narcissistic I'm good ego has to be built upon, and you have to feed it on a regular. So those soft sides are always there. They just didn't come out near as much anymore because there's no necessity for that right now in my life. And I don't anticipate that, that animal to have to come back, because that's a second personality that was a key component to my success, but also could be a key component to my demise.
Good point.
Great point.
Yeah. I know people ask me, who's the toughest guy you ever fought? And I said, listen, they're all tough. They're all tough. I never rated guys. I never put this here, this guy there, that guy, none of that. I like to know if a guy's lefty or righty, all that. But other than that, I treated them all the same. Now, I know you lost very few fights in the NHL. In life, you've lost very few fights. And you must have lost one or two here and there. When you did, how did that impact you though? Like, how did, that first time when you said, holy shit, because we've all had that holy shit moment when things are going great and you're on top, and then all of a sudden you get the fucking stun gun. You're like, whoops, surprise me.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I always took that in great stride, meaning this. It's not a matter if you're going to lose. It's a matter of when. And going back to the last statement, it's not how many you can throw, big boy. It's how many you can take. And the real stature and measuring stick for anybody who says that they're a tough guy in any faculty, that being in any sport or wherever, in different arenas, but the game remains the same. The arena changes, but the game is always the same. Meaning if you got the shit kicked out of you in the courtroom and you come back a meek lawyer, you're going to get buried with the weak. If you get the shit kicked out of you in the game of hockey and you come back meek, you're going to find yourself at the end of the week getting no paycheck. So my thought and progress is the same. You know what? Exactly that right there. You can't say it any better.
Okay, let me try this one. Is there anything that we could find out about you or know about you that would surprise us?
Oh, Nux, I don't think there's much that I could tell you that would surprise you. Really, I don't think there's anything.
I'm still trying to get to the soft side of Tony Twist.
It's all fun, but I mean, we're still being recorded and taped. There's a lot of fun things. There's so many stories out there. But it's a PG show, or it's a No Coming to Get Me Later show.
So
there's lots of fun things.
Ahead.
You know what, Freddie, I do a ton of art. I do a lot of artwork, that being canvas, oils, do a lot of glass work stuff.
Painting? With oil? Really?
Yeah, that's cool. I love that shit. That's cool.
And acrylic, and I do a lot of resin work with, I do some resin-based with glass pieces. Some of them are 4 and 5 foot, 4 by 5 foot. So I indulge in that.
Not like stained glass when you do that? No, resin? No, not stained glass.
No, stained. That's completely different.
So when you paint some oil painting, do you paint a scene? What would you paint? Curious.
My scene in my head, but it's certainly not going to represent anything you've ever seen.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't need a perverted oil painting.
No, I'm not doing. I'll take a picture of something if I want a landscape. They
Yeah.
look much better. Yeah, so most of my stuff is interpretive art, and it's stuff that you have to look at for a while to see because I like to do when I'm doing the pieces of glass. There's one. If you look at this side of the glass, it's a piece of work that you're looking at. You flip it over, it's a completely different work. There's one that I called Driving on Acid. It's just it's a white piece. I'll have to take the picture of it. And he's got just a white head that's all kind of faded in and out, and he's got two white mittens. And all the stuff that's coming at him is this little skulls smoking cigars. You got guys with top hats. But you don't really see him until you really look close because he's driving on acid because you can see all this going at him.
Now, like, is that it? Is that up in your house somewhere? Or is that?
Yeah, that's in my house.
You got to take a picture of it and send it to me. I want to see it. I want to see some of it.
When did you start? Was this from a young age that you were painting?
I started getting busy on it 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Something like that.
I think that's awesome. See, that's something we don't know about Tony
That's
Twist.
the answer that Nux was looking for the last 30 minutes.
See, a good interviewer get there. See, and I knew Nux was good.
Yeah. I fucking love that.
So do I. I think that's really cool.
And honestly, I'm shocked by it.
Why?
No, just your reputation, right? You say when people have a certain reputation, you wouldn't think you wouldn't think I fucking would do my wife's nails, for say. You paint.
Why not?
You just wouldn't think, with reputation-wise. I think you wouldn't think that. That's all. I wouldn't think, when I think of Tony Twist, I wouldn't think you were a fucking artiste. That's the last thing I would have thought. I think it's cool.
I think it's really cool. Awesome. I think it's really cool. Yeah.
And I do metal work too, stainless steel stuff. I made a cello out of stainless steel. That's like 8 feet tall. Made it out of stainless steel, and then used cartridges from 50 cals and stuff for the frets, and it looks really cool. Why do people bothering?
That is cool. So, all right, let's talk about, I guess, a little bit about the game today. When you look at the game today, basically they get rid of guys like us. They've taken that part of the game out. There's still a few guys in there, like a Ryan Reeves. Here they got Jack Guy in Montreal, Abba Jack Guy, who's a great kid. He's a throwback player. He's one of us. But boy, now you fight fucking 10 times in a season and you're like the fucking champ. You're the heavyweight champ of the league. It's fucking crazy. Crazy.
Right.
I don't blame it on those guys. I respect the guys for doing what they're doing, but geez, the league is really, do you see a time where it's going to be gone altogether?
I see that there's going to be the role as we fulfilled it is already gone, Nux, really. The way it was dictated to us and the way we held jurisdiction in court, that's gone. But do I see it going? Men will always be men, and men will always fight if they're competitive enough. And with competitiveness comes, chippy play and cheeky mouths. So when you combine those two, somebody's going to drop the gloves. But is there going to be a guy allocated on one end and one in the other as the nuclear weapon that the last thing you want to launch because it's going to be mayhem and it's guaranteed mass destruction? Because really that's what it was when we played. If you deploy the weapon, it's indiscriminatory, meaning eventually it's going to hit its target, but it's going to hurt some people on the way to its target. And that's way it was supposed to be deployed. It's not being deployed in such a fashion anymore. Will it go away? I'm pretty sure it will, but there'll always be fighting. But the delegated guy or the one that's going to solve the problem, the problem solver is no longer in the equation.
You watched much of today's game? Do you watch hockey today?
I've watched a few of it here and there, but I'm not intrigued. Don't get me wrong. I truly admire and enjoy the skill level, but it's not my game.
So you must have enjoyed watching the Blues when Chief had them win the Stanley Cup that year, Binnington in the net. That must have been because St. Louis, there's one, listen, we have a great alumni here in Montreal, but St. Louis has a fucking awesome alumni. It's just awesome. Maybe explain some of the shit they do. Because, right, you got your own rink. You got your own locker room. Guys come in. How often do you guys hook up, alumni?
I mean, weekly. I mean, the guys are at the rink weekly, so there's ice available every week for the alumni. I
Do
don't
you get out there? Are you skating?
No, I haven't skated in
No.
24 years.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not.
But Tone,
Yeah.
Tony, they have, but you have your own locker room there, don't you? Have a place you can go and work out there. You don't have to get on the ice, right?
We got a country club there. We got the steam room. We got this. We got a steam room. We got a hot sauna. We got out short of having a pool. We got a full bar, a few big screens, a lounging area. We got a workout room. We got a training table and all the amenities that go with that. Yeah, it's a nice place. Don't get me wrong.
Now, where is that? Is that where the Blues practice today's Blues, or is that in another building? The alumni.
It's in another building now.
Okay,
yeah, but it was with the Blues.
Yeah, that's so cool, right?
Yeah, it is really cool.
It is, and it's a perk. We do have a lot of guys. I don't know where we fall into as how many past players stay in St. Louis, but I know we got to be in the top 3 or 4.
Now, Tim and I just interviewed a guy that you broke his fucking nose and
yeah, he said you have to fix his windshield.
Kimby, he talked about how his nose is like over under his eyeball when you hit him. Now you fucking throw a bomb, Twister. I'm so glad, I'm so glad Odie jumped in that day. Honestly, I'm glad he fucking jumped you, that you didn't fucking cave my face in. But yeah, what a good guy, Darren Kimball. And I had always, when I saw him come in the league, I loved the way he played. He was a tough kid. I watched him. I saw him in Quebec. Then he came into Boston for that quick time. But I just, he was a goer. He was awesome. But, he had some struggles here recently, and he's gotten through them like our friend Kelly Chase. But you guys fought quite a bit, no? And then we talked about the story, you two guys at the Spud in Charlestown, talking with all the boys the night before the game, and then you just fucking go out and fight each other at the Boston Garden. That had to be fucking nuts.
Well, I mean, you know the game as well as I do. That's going back to the old school drop of how stuff's done. Jimmy and I played junior against each other. We fought a lot in junior, and then we fought a lot in pros. I don't know. I don't think there's many more. He may have been the guy I fought most in combination over the course of my career.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
15 or 20. They were always drop down good ones too. And his nose broken. That was the first fight we ever had in Saskatoon. Is when he got his nose. He came in. He had no clue who I was. So, but he did after the game because I moved it all the way over there.
Fuck. Did he?
We Darren and I punches, some great punch outs. Let me tell you. It was a punch in the head contest. I spoke to him a couple of days ago, right before he was on your show, and I said, somebody had asked the question, what do you think about traumatic head injuries, in this day and age? And I said, traumatic. When I first started my first exhibition game, when we played in Saskatoon, I think it was against Detroit, I took my lid off and threw it on the ground because I didn't know any better. And the guy in the Detroit team, with Detroit, looks at me and goes, I'm not taking my lid off. I'm going to go, why not? Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Take your lid off. Let's get in the punch in the head contest. No, so after that, I was thinking, man, midway through the career, I'm going, if I had taken my lid off like we did in junior and you were exchanging punches, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, you have some lumps.
Wow. And I'm still giving them between the lid. I remember it was in junior. You come back, it was like, just take a day or two to readjust your vision a little.
Now, Twister, now that you brought that up, have you ever, and not that you should worry about it, because I don't, but have you ever suffered any health issues from the game? Stuff creep up back on you, concussion stuff like that? Have you had to deal with any of that?
What's your name again?
Vegas. My name's Vegas from Charlestown.
Vegas. All right, Loss. So me and my fleas, I haven't experienced any of that, and I'm grateful for it.
Good. Yeah.
I'm not saying that there isn't something there, but I'm not saying there is either. And
who knows, right?
2000, at this point, I think everything's good. I've had a brain scan, a CT scan, and it came down empty like it was supposed to. I anticipated that anyways, but everything's good.
Now, I had a real bad car accident back in '08 where I got ejected from the vehicle. I was unconscious. You had that bike accident. We're all going to have to deal with our mortality one day. Just talking to Darren, and being humbled somewhat, getting that diagnosis he did, and then battling through it, can be like he did, and like Chaser has done. What's your biggest fear in life, and what scares you in life? Does anything scare you? And again, I ask this question because I don't sit around like, oh, I'm scared to death of dying, or I think about it, or I'm gonna get dementia, I'm gonna get Alzheimer's. But what is your biggest fear?
Again, I'll be very honest with you. I'm still on Plan B as far as what that, or Plan A is what that goes. Just what I've learned there, and I practice this, and I promise you, I really do, is I pursue my interests and pursue them, and if they don't work out, they don't work out. If there's a way that I can pursue them another way to achieve my will, if there's not and it's prohibited by something else, if there's a workaround, great. If there's no workaround, then we move on. So I approach everything in that regard, and I think that the worrying about what this or what's going to happen here, all right, I can do my best to prevent it by living properly and eating properly. Don't get all lost in drugs and alcohol, and get some good night's sleep, and don't be out prancing and parading and doing stupid shit. So, I mean, that's within my control. So if it's in my control, all right, I'm not worried about it. And if it's out of my control, why would I worry about it? So how I'm living life and then approach life is exactly like that. Do I have anything that I'm afraid is going to happen or whatever? I know what things are. My mom and dad are going to pass away. That's going to be sad. Do I think about it? No, because they're living now. Eventually my kids are, there's going to be a spot where my kids, are going to be in a position where they're going to have to put me down. Do I think about it? No, just living for today. That's all Debbie Downer shit. I can control what I do today, and I do. And for 98% of the things, everything that I do are my decisions. Those are my decisions. And if there's something that's out of my control, well, the decisions in thereafter are in my control. So I'm not worried about it. There's no, just if I'm, same thing, application when going to the National Hockey League. This is Plan A, and this is what I'm working on. I don't need Plan B because really I'm happy with Plan A right now. It's working. So, the direction of the business is going the right direction. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like I'm a bad business guy just living it day by day, just wondering if I'll meet paychecks. But, as far as my life, my life motto is and how I live it is exactly this way. I'll make it. And I'll make my life the way I want it to be.
And that's cool. That's cool. I like that. Well, let me say, as you've aged, as you've gotten a little older here, has your views on life changed at all? Have they softened? Have they gotten more like stringent? How about your views on life? Has your views on life changed somewhat?
My views haven't changed, but they've dramatically been dramatically tailored for the evolution of myself. Meaning that as you get older, as well as I do, some of the opinions and some of the decisions that were made by you, obviously, but with mitigating circumstances that otherwise could have clouded your view or your decision on how to make the right decision. And what I mean is that when you're young, you act like you're full of piss and vinegar, and you just do at the turn of a flip of a dime, never thinking about that consequence, good, bad, or indifferent. Comments that you think are funny and rhetorical and great in the dressing room is something that I've softened it down a lot, because after being in a dressing room for 30 plus years, you smell blood in the water, the sharks will attack, so you're immediately snipping back. Yeah. Well, I've had to tone that a bunch down because, I'm offending people around me why is that offensive? That's just that was insulting. Well, it was meant to be insulting, but it wasn't like insulting like they're taking it. It was supposed to be, I thought that's what we're doing. I thought that's right? I mean, that was mean. Well, yeah, it was mean. I mean, of course I'm mean, but it's not what I really think.
Yeah.
So my whole the evolution of me, it goes along that same line, you know, not blurting out, passing everything through my heart, not just out my mouth. So instead of going from outstairs, passing it through here, and then saying something before, it never passed through the heart, and as a consequence, it could end up being, and has been in the past, very demonstrative, but not on purpose.
How about this one? Now I look back, some of the things, I know one thing I did in my career that I wish I could have done differently is when I hit Rick Middleton in the mouth and, you know, knocked a few teeth loose and all that. I wish that didn't happen. I wish I didn't do that. I wish I'd done something differently that time. When you look back on your career, do you wish you would have done anything different during that career? Anything you regret?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I got some pretty shitty things, I'm sure, but they were all with a purpose. You know, they were all with a purpose, and they're all with a purpose in mind. And the drive at the time was satisfying the needs for the want. So, you know, if I flip back and, you know, I'm on channel 3 then, I'm on channel 30 now. Well, they're not even the same. It's not in the same era. So I know what I did back then. Do I feel bad about it now? Well, how can I? Because back then I know I did it for this reason.
Yeah.
If I tried together, I'd do the same thing if it was the same spot 30 years later. You know, if to start disassembling stuff like that and thinking back, you know, all I can do is move forward and be a better person in that regard. You know, none of the stuff I did in the ice, I thought I always did it pretty honorably. You know, you weren't getting anything you didn't deserve, and you certainly weren't getting anything you didn't know was coming. So, do I do anything bad? No, I don't think I really do.
Tim, would you have loved to have Twister on your wing and me on the other wing?
Oh God, I would be fucking 6'2" instead of
Well,
5'7".
You wouldn't even need skates.
No, yeah, just be out there in a Speedo.
You wouldn't even need skates.
Oh,
They wouldn't touch you.
I'd just be sliding around out there.
Twister, we gotta get together again. Fuck, I gotta come out there, or you gotta come out this way, see V's. We gotta, you know, fuck. Been so long.
It's been too long. It's been 20 plus years, hasn't it? 20 years?
Christ, when the Last Gladiators come out, right? Remember when we were in Toronto, right? Fuck, that was awesome. We had a few laughs there. That was awesome.
That was a great show. That turned out really good, Nux.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to do.
Really well.
You know, Barry Reese.
Yep.
The guy who did it, Barry, helped produce his podcast for us, his company. His production company. Yeah, we've stayed in touch. He's been awesome. You know?
Great guy.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
When Barry came and did an interview with me, he says, is there anybody else you want to send you to? And I go, you go see Nux, and the show's not going to be about me. And that's exactly what that's how it went down.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, yeah, he had a hard time. Yeah, he had a hard time. You know, when he talked to a lot of guys wanted to get paid to doing it. I had just got sober. I come out of rehab when he called me. And I had nothing going. I said, yeah, I'll help you. I'll do it. And next one thing led to another. And, you know, but, yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
It was enlightening for everybody, Nux, because nobody really knew to this point. And it was a great avenue to exercise those demons and get you back on the where you're at now. So congratulations there.
Yeah, thanks. Listen, quickly, before I let you go, I want to ask you about that whole lawsuit thing with Todd McFarlane. Now, how'd that all come about? And did he know you and then decide to use your name somehow? Or what happened there? Well, if you don't mind me asking.
No, not at all. I'll give you a Reader's Digest version of it here. It was 1994. I was in St. Louis. I got a call from my mom. There's some kids at the door with trading card set, wondering if I was at home because they wanted to get them signed. And Mom said, no, I was in St. Louis because it was the summertime. And Mom calls me all mad. She goes, well, what are you doing as trading card. Why are you some mafia crime boss? And I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, send them to me. So she sent those to me. And immediately, it was Tony Twist, mobs from Sicily, taking up residency in New York. And I called Bob Blitz, my lawyer, and said, Bob, we got to get a cease and desist on this. My mom's pissed. I have no idea. So I roll it into 2 court cases. First court case, he does not know me. Todd does not know me. At this point, he has 5% interest in the Edmonton Oilers, but he doesn't know me as a person. He was very forthcoming, enjoys the game of hockey. He was a big fan of myself. In that magazine, he also had Joe Sakic, who was my accountant, aptly my accountant. And, a couple other guys that were in the magazine. But after the first verdict came out, that was overturned because of the judge's instructions. I'm just skipping over a bunch of it. The second term.
Yeah, that's fine.
15 million the first time, and the second time somewhere around that 13 or 15 million. But that court case went on for a couple weeks. There was 18 lawyers and legals there, and there's 3 of us on our bench: Blitz, Haller, and myself, and one other guy. And we ran it. We won again in the interim, though. But it was a lot of the companies were bankrupted, and the payment was nowhere near what that would have been or should have been.
Yeah.
Long story short, he was fighting under it was a constitutional right, first rights amendment, but we argued that it was not a first amendment issue. It was using somebody's name or personality or likeness to gain a pecuniary advantage, which would be a monetary advantage, selling my name, likeness or image in the magazine, and that I should be paid appropriately. And if I wasn't paid appropriately, or I was viewed and put on a display as an individual that I wasn't without permission. So that's what it was all about. And he was found guilty in both counts and both times.
So me and Tim were talking about this, and someone's using my name, Knuckles, right now out there in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Right, Tim?
Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog, this big thing with Disney. Should I go after them?
Now, does it have any tie together with you? Does it have anything to say that Knuckles
No, it's just the name Knuckles.
Yeah, I might have a hard time unless you patent that name, which I think you can. If you got a patent on that name, it's all yours. But otherwise, I think you're royally fucked.
Yeah, that's a tough name to have a patent on, right?
Yeah. But we're gonna get there.
Twister. Yeah, awesome stuff. Thanks for taking the time, buddy. I really enjoyed your talk here today. It was awesome. Good to see you. Good to hear from you.
Thanks, guys.